walkthrough of doing like associations in Rails, and maybe I also got a request to talk about a little bit of validations, a little more complex validations in Rails and Active Records. So I'll do that as well. So right here, I just have a simple terminal up in my Vagrant box. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say Rails new, and uh, let's call this advanced uh, queries. Okay, cool. So let's open this directory somewhere else and open it in VS Code. Okay, now let's go into advanced queries real quick. And that is our basic application. Now, let's create a model before we do anything else. So let's create two models that are related to one another. Instead of doing users and posts like earlier, we could do something like, how about schools and students? Sound good? So Rails G model, let's start with the school model. So it's capital S, singular school, and schools have what? They probably have like name, string, how about location as a string, and then let's say, okay, number of students, and that will be an integer. Okay, now let's create this model, and obviously I need to be in the right directory for this. Okay, so we've created this model. Now let's create our associated model, students. So Rails G model, student. They will have a first name, not fist name, first name, string, last name, string. And then let's just have them be tied to a school. So how do I write that? Well, the way you declare it is in your actual generate statement, okay? So when you generate your models, right, kind of like you did with Django, when you create the models, although you're creating them in different places for Rails versus Django, think about what associations this model is going to have with other models in your database. So here, similarly to Django, it's always the thing with the foreign key that you should create the reference on, right? So here, string, school, right? You say references. So school is singular and lowercase, and you say colon references, okay? Now, if we take a look at what that does, let's look at the migration. So the migration creates a reference to school, and it creates a foreign key. Awesome, right? So what we can do is we can rake db migrate.
When you have two migrations, so the first database.
Because I made two models, yeah. One migration for each model. And if we take a look at schema.rb, we have a school ID now as part of the students table, right? And this is kind of quote unquote magically generated because I said school colon references, which created this school underscore ID foreign key, right? And that's kind of just how the cookie crumbles when it comes to creating models in Rails. Make sure that it's lowercase and singular. All right.
So the migration file is always going to have plural on.
It pluralizes it for you. Yeah, exactly.
So the foreign key is to the school via the student database.
Exactly. Okay. So let's add our validations and associations right now. So if we go to app, models, we'll see our two model files, school and student. So if you look at student, because I said school references, I already got the association belongs to school created for me. So that's good. Let's add something else. Let's say validates. They just have a first name and last name, don't they? Last name. Let's do something interesting like validating alphanumeric in Rails. I guess you have to just say some more regex, right? So all this says is, let's call this name format equals this. Presence true. Format name format. Something like that. So that should mean that if I have any like punctuations in my student name, that it'll like go away, right? It won't accept that punctuation as part of that person's name. So it'll say like just re-enter the name, right? It's not a valid name if it has punctuation in it. Oh, you're right. So what if I did like that? I added an apostrophe. Okay, let's see if that'll work. Now, let's also try to figure out some more interesting ones. So, validations in Rails. One thing that I kind of like is like uniqueness. So like you can say uniqueness true. You can also add like some, a custom message here. So if you say, let's say something like, I don't know, everybody at this school has a unique first name, okay? Which is like totally garbage, but validates first name. We can either say uniqueness true, like this, but if we wanted to be more specific, we could pass in a hash of values that said something like message. That name is taken already, dude. Something like that. And that's how we can add a custom message. Okay? So let's talk about school.rb. So when we go to school.rb, you'll notice that I don't have anything involving its relationship to students, right? What do I need to write here to create that relationship? Yeah. Okay. So has underscore many colon students. Now that we've done that, let's see if our Rails C will work. Okay, so it seems like we're in a Rails C. So let's say I said student equals student.new. Okay, so I ran into an error. And usually when you run into an error when you say .new, it seems that, the provided regular expression is using multi-line anchors, which may represent a security risk. Did you mean to use /a and or z? Let's take a look. Or forgot to add the multi-line true option. How did it look like in the example I gave? Yeah, we do need a /a right here. So it would be something like /a and then another /a. That should be it. Let's see if that'll do it. So in order to make these changes populate, I do need to say reload. No, it's failing on me.
There was a /c.
This one, right? And then it was like /z/i. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Is there anything else in there? Okay, let's do reload again. It's not liking it. It says expecting keyword end. Let's take a look at what we did here. I think so, because apostrophes are a control character, so I might need a slash here as well to tell it that I mean literally an apostrophe and not like the apostrophe that regex recognizes. But still, it's not liking it. Let's see. Let's get rid of this one. No way. Get out of here. Okay. Honestly, this regex stuff is kind of weird in Rails. Let's see if I just take out the apostrophe. Let's see if that'll even do it, if that causes any grief. So let's reload again. So that's not even the apostrophe that's the error. It's still saying something about /a and z. But I feel like I'm doing that right. I mean, that's what this example here is even saying. Let's do reload again. If this doesn't work, we can just move on and I'll show you guys later on, I guess, the correct way of writing it, but I'm not sure why it's not working. Undefined expecting keyword end. But the thing is, am I missing something here? /zi? But that's not the issue. It says it's giving an error right here. $. Where does the $sign exist here? There is no $sign. Interesting. We'll see if that did it. And if it doesn't, I can just go on later. Unterminated regex p meets end of file. Because this one didn't end. It's like that. Alright, let's do it one more time. There we go. So let's see if I can add the apostrophe back in. Okay, so let's say I created a student, and I'll say student.valid, give me false. So you'll notice that if you add uniqueness true, it actually kind of looks for, it runs a query every time you do your validation, right? Because I said that you cannot have the same first name across multiple students. So let's do something with an actual student with some key value pairs. So I'll say first name. Let's say Kevin O'Leary. That's a really long first name. Let's do Kevin O. And then I'll say last name, Leary. And I'll say, so they do not have a school ID, but let's see if this is student.valid. So it says false. So let's say student.errors.full messages. First name is invalid. Think so. So what if I said, huh? Like Kevin O-Leary. Okay, let's see if that is valid. It is valid. Nice. Right. So here the formatting is working, but what if I wanted something like, I don't know. I want to test the apostrophe thing. So l'apostrophe-bron. There we go. All right. So student.valid. It is valid. Awesome. So that means the apostrophe is being passed into this regex properly. So that's a pretty decent format. Uniqueness true. So let's say I wanted to, let's say student.save, and then now LeBron is in the database. And let's say I want to create a new one, and I wanted to save them. It rolls back. And then if I say student.errors.full messages, then it says that first name, that name is already taken already, dude. So the message starts with the name of the field. So let's say is taken already, dude. Let's see if that does it. So let's reload bang. Let's do student equals student new, student dot valid or save, student errors. Yep, that makes more sense. First name is taken already, dude. Okay? Cool. So I've created students that are not associated with the school. So what if I said student.school? It's nil because there is no school associated, right? Let's try to do some herb business here. So gem herb. Let's get out of this query interface and just do bundle install. Okay, Rails C. So let's try to create a school. So what are the properties that a school has? Let's check it out. Name, location, number of students. So let's call this name. I don't know. What's the name of like a really big school? I was gonna say Harvard. Let's say Coding Dojo. And then location, Burbank. And then number of students, I'll say like 75. Okay, location, Burbank. Created at, updated at nil. Okay, so what if I said, let's actually grab this part and school equals that. School dot save. Okay, so now that I've created the school, I can say school dot all. Let me enable her. So now we have that item in our database. Okay? Yeah, question.
When you go through this new, then save, and then displaying the errors messages, why did my display errors again not work when I started as like I did the shortcut of .create instead of doing new and save. When I did .create, my validations worked and it rolled back, but then when I tried to display the errors,
Let's try it. So, you mean if I said something like school.create,
created an empty one so that it wouldn't validate, and then it would go back, or it would validate false and then it would go back.
did you save it in a variable?
I believe so. At first I didn't, and then I did.
Oh, I don't have any validations here. Crap. Let me add a validation. Let's do that one. So that one rolled back, right? So you mean that school.errors.
Yeah, that, and then when I did that, it would give me an error. I guess I was just doing something wrong.
What could have happened is maybe you did this. And that throws you an error. Because the class doesn't have the method, only the instance of that class has it, right? So that could have been what happened, but that's a little weird. Anyways, so let's do some stuff involving the associated students, okay? So like student.all, right now, LeBron O'Leary, wow, that's a lot of apostrophes, doesn't have a school ID. So how could I set this guy's school ID? What do you guys think?
Do an update. Update.
Okay. So I could say student equals student dot first. Now I have LeBron in here. So I say student dot update, something like that. Now, do I say school ID or do I say school equals?
I do ID.
You want to usually do it by passing objects around.
Okay. It's just a colon, right?
Huh?
Just a colon.
Colon, yes. So school colon, and then I could say school dot first. Committed the transaction. So now if I look at student equals student dot first, now he has a school ID of 1.
Can you pass multiple values with a colon?
You can, but you cannot assign more than one school to a single student. But you can update multiple fields at once. Yes. What's up?
If you did school out first, could you just do, the school name, like school equal colon, and then coding dojo?
Yeah.
That's how you usually
You could do
right?
school dot find by, right? And you could say name coding dojo. That'll do the same thing. Or
And that would
and
put
did-
it in the table,
what do you mean?
putting it, like right before it didn't have like a school or ID, right?
It did, yeah. So that'll add it to that item in the
Find by
table.
would add it?
Find by, all you need is an instance of a school object,
Okay.
right? It's not about the method that you're doing.
Okay.
You just need some reference to a individual school object in the database.
Okay.
Okay? So the way you're commonly going to do this though, right? Because you're going to be dealing with IDs for the most part, you'll be using the find function. So the find function is there for IDs. Oh no, what did I do? School.find, oh. There we go. Okay? Let me actually, sorry, I should have actually gone over some of these queries with you guys. So when I say school.find, that's always by ID. If I wanted to say, I want to find the student whose name is LeBron, how would I write that? Find by, like that? Yes? Okay, and then what do I pass in here? Yeah, it's first name. Okay? Okay. Now, what if I did something about like, if I did student.find by first name LeBron, could I get their last name like this? LeBron O'Leary, right? Okay.
What about all?
So you mean all students with the first name LeBron?
Oh, no, just all students.
That would be student.all.
Oh.
Okay.
Maybe going back or jumping ahead. In order to update the column, it's just this was like part of a column. Did you do Rails G or right? Or what is it?
To update the column?
Yeah, or just like one section of that DB. Like say for example, you're talking about right now. You're just updating. What was the last thing you updated on here?
The school ID on this person.
Yeah, okay. So let's say for example, you wanted to add a column to that DB.
To this table in the
Yeah, to that
DB?
table, yeah.
Yeah.
How would you do a G like a?
You'd have to get out of this and do a Rails G migration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Remind me.
That's the only way that I could imagine doing that. Yeah, what's up?
Would that be, you have to get out and do a Rails G migration if you like at the beginning you said you put school colon references, like if you forgot to set up the relationships and the initial creation of the model.
Then you'd have to create a migration to fix that.
Okay.
What's up?
When Ed was talking about add a new section to the problem, you mean like email, age, password, like stuff that we did not add. Yeah.
We need a migration to do that.
Okay, yeah.
So here, how would I find, like, let's create another student. Let's say student.create. Let's have a more reasonable name here. We'll call him Stefan, name, first name. And then we'll call him Curry. Okay? Let's keep it topical. And then they go to the same school. Okay? Now, let's create one more, and let's create Kevin O'Curry. Okay, so now we have 3 people who go to the same school. So now that we've done that, how would I be able to find all the students whose last name is O'Curry? Okay. Okay. Let's try that out. Unfortunately, we only get 1 back. So when we do a find, let's take a look at the SQL here, right? We get this great tool with what the SQL is saying, but we say select star from students, where students dot last name equals question mark, and that question mark is O'Curry. Limit 1. So the way you change the limit is by running a different query. So here, select is slightly different. We want to do where. Select, let's say we wanted to get just their first names. Then I'd say first name like this. Okay? So here, the syntax that Rails uses is actually very SQL-like, right? You say where, you say dot select, you say, these are the fields that I'm going to select, these are what the conditions are, the where stuff that I need to grab. And that's pretty cool. I tend to like that. Okay? So that's how we can get their first names. Now, how would I find all the students in the first school? There's a couple ways we could go about it, right? School.objects.get. That's Django. It's all good. Huh? School.where. Okay. And then what would the where be?
Would it be just first names or?
Well, schools don't have first names,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But I do think there's one way we can go about it. We can start from the school model, right? So let's go to school.all, and let's say school.first. So I'll say school equals school.first. So now this school variable contains this first school, and what I can do is I can just say school.students, and now I get all of my students. So what created this students method for me? This did. So what happens is if I comment that out, I reload, and I try to do that again. What the? There we go. Undefined method students.
So your first query gets saved in a sense where it adds to you could actually add the second one to the first one. So it truncates it, right?
It
Kinda in a way, I guess.
it uses the information in that variable to create the next query that you chain onto it. Yeah, it is really nice.
What about if you want to just get rid of it? Like you just did to get rid of that. Like say you wanted to start over again, and it doesn't account for a new query. Because you already, like say you did like the school, right? Then you did students, but then you're gonna do a third query. But the third query you don't want anything to do with the first two.
Well, yeah, you just create a new variable, right? If you created a new variable, then that's like a fresh query.
How do you do that?
A new variable?
Yeah.
So if
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see.
So school equals school.first, right? I could say school.students, and then I could chain onto it like .where. First name is Stefan. And then that would give me Stefan O'Curry.
So if you were to start a second query with the same parameters, it'll add to that first query.
If you're adding on to the same variable.
The same variable.
Yeah. What's up?
If you wanted to just get all the students from one school like we're doing here, could you do students, or make a variable, students dot, student dot all, dot where, and then the name of the name equals, Coding Dojo.
Well, here, what is the model that we're running the where query on? Student model. So that's going to give me an error because students do not have just names, right? It's only schools that have names.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
see,
switch
it says no such column students.name. So what I would do is I would have to say something about the school,
school, yeah.
right? Where school is school dot, I don't know, find by name Coding Dojo. It's a little convoluted. It's not something that we do most of the time, but that would be one way you could go about it. Okay? And actually, if you do it this way, we can get rid of this, rerun this query, and it'll still work. Because we weren't relying on the school's connection to the students, right? But how could I make this break? We actually could make this break. We could break it by doing this. Right? If I remove the belongs to school, it says, hey, there's no such column called students.school, and it has no idea to create this magical method, right, that creates that association between the school ID and the school model. This is what creates it. So if you're ever running into those queries and like you're trying to rely on something associated and it's failing, I would make sure, I would double, triple check to make sure that your belongs to and your has many are both there. Okay? Any questions about that? I don't want to take up too much more of you guys' time, but you feel like it's getting crazy, Steven?
We'll actually going deeper.
Okay.
Well, no, we'll get used to it.
So here is the final thing. Let's say we had school.first.students. Oh, did I erase the has many? I still erased it. That's why. So I grab school.first.students. Now let's say I wanted to get all their information to show up all together, right? That includes their name and like what school they go to, okay? How can we write that in Active Record? Well, we need to start from the school table, right? And then I need to say something like joins students. Why do I have to say students? Because a school has many students. So what you're going to notice is that these methods, the parameters they take in are often going to be what names these associations have, right? So if I was going to go the opposite way, if I said student.joins the school model, what would the word be that I need to write in here? Singular school. Why? Because in our model, we say belongs to singular school. Okay? So those are the names that need to show up. So you might say, okay, I've joined these two tables together, but why is it not showing up? We need to select those things manually. So we need to select name, first name, last name, location. And there we go. Now we have all these NBA people's names put with an O in front of them that all go to Coding Dojo. Okay? Yeah, question.
So you're not limited to like kind of like in the models query portion of like Python as well. You can do back and forth queries basically, right? From the top to the bottom, from the bottom to top.
So long as you join the tables together.
Cool.
But yeah, It is very much like it, right? And again, it'll take some time. I would say definitely like try to draw diagrams like ERDs and whatnot of this. Make sure that you can like experiment, try queries from different directions, just kind of get yourself very comfortable in this interface because it's going to be what you use for the most part. Yeah. Anyways, any other questions? All right, that's it. Thank you guys.